She had to come from behind in the semi, but when it counted, she has done it.
Let me see the crack.
Right? I'm telling you, if you're a Black American and you watch that and you didn't come to tears, everything is rigged against us. We make one mistake and the whole world will tear us down every freaking time. Every time, the world's gonna tear us down. Because guess what? That's what they do against us. Because they know if we get in there, it's a wrap. So, here's the lesson though. Here is the lesson that Shakari Richardson taught us. And that you cannot when you get a loaf of bread, do you buy a loaf of bread and go to the register and be like, no, I only want the middle slices. I don't like the end pieces, so I don't want those. I don't want to pay for those. I only want the middle slices of bread. No, you can't get just the middle slices of bread. You get the whole loaf of bread and you get the end pieces on both sides. That's what we're doing. We're saying I voted for Trump because I like the middle pieces of the bread. No, you're getting the whole loaf of bread, and the whole loaf of bread says this end piece and that end piece are racist and have nothing to do with what is beneficial to you as a Black community.
Hey, welcome back to Black Press. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe.
Now let's get to it.
Hey, welcome back. I'm your girl Trish.
And I'm your boy Mr. Define.
And we are
Black Press. Hey, welcome back everybody. First off, we're gonna hit you with the whole like, share, comment, and subscribe. Please, you know what I'm saying? Like, share, comment, and subscribe. We are at 150 now. 155 subscribers, I believe, and we are trying to continue to push on. So go ahead and hit us with a like. Hit us with a subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and share it with somebody, because we're gonna always be talking about great things and some negative things, but that we need to improve as a Black community. So go ahead and do that. Hit the like button. So first thing we're gonna do is talk about the current news. Even though people weren't happy last week when I said things about if you are voting for Trump and you're Black, then you're actually voting for someone that is a rich white man who would be under the jail by any other means if he was a Black man. But so that was before he got indicted, and now y'all know, or everybody know he got indicted. You got to see that, right? That whole indictment and surrender. The meme mug, and everybody, everybody, y'all already know, they putting shirts on. They putting the mug on shirts. They putting it on cups. They putting it on coffee mugs. But the issue is, the Republicans can't even really figure out whether or not we're cheering for Trump or we're just laughing at Trump. People shout free Trump, but we shout free Trump or free everybody or on everything. And honestly, I think it's a lot less Black people that really want Trump than not. But I need to talk to these folks that do want Trump, because you think he's been doing great things for us. I mean, I don't see how. Because really,
he gave out them stimulus checks.
Yeah, but he gave out the stimulus checks, and that was a bipartisan thing. That was a bipartisan vote across Congress. So he gave out checks, but all of Congress voted for it. Yeah. So that was Dems and Republicans. So I don't see how they thinking that. And then we got our people out here that are in the streets. Like, okay, I'm rolling with Trump because he got a
business.
No. That's what you would think, right?
Yeah.
Nah, they like, he got a mugshot. I got a mugshot.
Oh, wow.
He my homie. Like, now they saying like Trump is a real ninja. So I don't get it. But so I need you guys to understand who Trump really is, because who he is now is the same guy that who he was back in the 80s. So if you remember when the Central Park 5 issue happened, he pretty much wanted these guys not just under the jail, but completely gone. He wrote this op-ed, and it was really interesting. But first thing he did, he did this interview, right? And here's what he said. This your boy Trump. This what y'all are with.
A well-educated black has a tremendous advantage over a well-educated white in terms of the job market. And I think sometimes a black may think that they don't really have the advantage or this or that, but in actuality, today, currently, it's a great. I've said on occasion, even about myself, if I were starting off today, I would love to be a well-educated black because I really believe they do have an actual advantage today.
That's the one that you thought that you think is for you. When in actuality, back in '89, he was saying that me and you, just because we go to college, we have education, we got better advantages than white people. How well did that do for us in the last 30 years?
That's just being ill-educated about white people and thinking that just because they have education that they have an opportunity. Because in America, they see it as long as you have the education and you go further in life, that's where the American dream is. And that's where people are getting out of poverty and doing things with themselves. But in our reality, it's far from the truth.
And then you still hit the glass ceiling, because if you're black and educated, you still don't have all the things that white and educated gives you, as far as business capabilities and the ability to borrow money. Like what he said was during a point where, or after a point where he got millions from his own dad.
Yeah.
Like, you really gonna say would you rather have been black and educated or white and getting millions from your dad to start yourself and as a billionaire? Really? Like, come on, man.
For him, it was easy to say that because he just doesn't know the struggle of being black.
He don't,
and a lot of people do.
This is a key point.
Same thing.
What you're saying is very true, and this is what you're saying about him not knowing is very true. And then when we talk about this next thing, the op-ed that he put out in the same year, after Central Park 5, was pretty much, he didn't care. He told you he didn't care. He told us we didn't care. So I'm telling you, like, this dude, we're trying to pretend like he is doing the best for us, and it's not. It's completely untrue. Look at this right here. So this right here is what, after Central Park 5, Trump put out his own op-ed, right? And it says, bring back death penalty. He was so upset. He was so true about this. And here's what he said. Now, first, over here in this area, he talked about how things were so. He wanted the police to have their capabilities back, and they didn't want to be held back by liberal. This was in 1989, so it's right here, right, 1989, May 1st, 1989. Now he actually did that little interview in September. So over here he talked about how he said
like wild criminals roam our neighborhoods.
Right, wild criminals roam our neighborhoods, dispensing their own vicious brand of twisted hatred on whomever they encounter. He's really talking about us. This is what he's thinking. This is what his actual thoughts are, right? But then what he goes up to here, this is really what Trump thinks about you. He says they must serve as examples so that others will think long and hard before committing a crime or an act of violence. Yes, Mayor Cook, I want to hate these murderers, and I always will. This is about the exonerated Central Park Five that were completely innocent, right? But because he automatically knows in his mind that they're guilty, he thinks we're all guilty. I want to hate these murderers. I'm not looking to psychoanalyze or understand them. Who's he talking about? Come on, black people. Who is he talking about? Who is he talking about? I don't want to psychoanalyze them. I don't want to understand. Right? It says I'm not looking to psychoanalyze or understand them. I'm looking to punish them. If the punishment is strong, the attacks on innocent people will stop. I recently watched a newscast trying to explain the anger in these young men. I no longer want to understand their anger. I want them to understand our anger. I want them to be afraid. Get the F out of here. Like, seriously, this is the guy that you want to go back into office. This is the guy you want to go back in office. Everybody out there in the streets talking about, oh, Trump, my dog, he my ninja, all of this. Like, this is the dude that really don't care what you've been through.
But can you hold something somebody said like 30 years ago against them?
Yes.
Like, people
when they're grown
adult, evolve and change. They don't stay the same. I mean, of course, he's been around like people of our ethnicity, like different times. Like, he's employed people of color.
Yeah, who also said he was racist. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, can we still hold him to that?
Yes, because guess what? He still never actually came back and apologized.
I don't think
when looking this stuff up, he literally came back and said he did not feel any. He didn't feel any remorse. When the Central, he wrote this after the Central Park Five were arrested, right? So he believed that it was all 5 of those black young men that were guilty. He never rescinded it, even after they were found innocent. And there's been multiple issues that come up that said, people that worked with him or for him, even some of his tenants when he was a landlord, said that he was racist. So why do we want to ignore all of this?
The main thing I don't like is that he incites racism. Like, all the people that's backing him, they have a little bit of racism within them. Exactly. And they think it's okay.
Because it's like this. If he might not be racist, I believe he is. He might not be racist. But all the racist people,
they love him.
Love him.
Yeah.
So if everybody that's racist loves you, dude, you're sending a signal out there that makes them think that you're on their team.
Yeah, because even like his slogan is "Make America Great Again."
Yeah, when was it great?
How great are you trying to?
When was America as a whole great? The Constitution. The Constitution is great.
It was back when more white people were in power.
No, the Constitution is great. It has grandiose words and concepts of greatness, but the actual follow through of America is not great. Yeah, that's the problem, and he has always benefited off of it, and he will continue to benefit off of it because everybody who don't look like us is supporting him, and they won't not support him. So we will always be at the bottom. Come on, bro. Like, why are we trying to pretend like this junk, like you don't see it? We want to pretend like he is not what he is because we want the benefits of what we think he wants for us, which is not true. Anything that we get, listen to this, anything that we get as black people is not aimed towards improving life for us. It is just it's runoff. It's like when he pours into the bucket of those that he wants to succeed, and then we get the runoff as if we're the weeds after the bucket is being overflown.
It's just like
it's not.
in slavery when black people used to get served with scraps.
Yeah. And then
they make the best,
subsequently,
they make the best
we ended up being the strongest because we was getting the pot liquor.
Yeah, you make the best of what you.
But that I just don't understand what we're doing. You know what? I got some blowback from the last one when I said if you're black and you're voting for Trump, then you're voting for white supremacy. But the issue is, we want to take parts of what we want, and not actually understand that you cannot get. When you get a loaf of bread, do you buy a loaf of bread and go to the register and be like, no, I only want the middle slices. I don't like the end pieces, so I don't want those. I don't want to pay for those. I only want the middle slices of bread. No, you can't get just the middle slices of bread. You get the whole loaf of bread, and you get the end pieces on both sides. That's what we're doing. We're saying I'm voting for Trump because I like the middle pieces of the bread. No, you're getting the whole loaf of bread, and the whole loaf of bread says this end piece and that end piece are racist and have nothing to do with what is beneficial to you as a black community. But you're like, I just want the middle pieces. That's not happening, bro. It's not. You either getting the whole loaf or you're not. And people want to say, oh, you don't understand, or Trump is doing stuff for us. Well, guess what? You still get the other pieces of bread that you didn't want. And stop pretending like you're not. That's what kills me about us.
But
what are we doing?
It'll never reach to a point to where you get a candidate that you wholeheartedly...
You don't. Just that
wholeheartedly represents you.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to like go with those bits and pieces
and that's 100% true. That's 100% true, and that's what I need us to understand. Because when I hear us as black people talk about it, we're talking about it like, oh, I'm voting for Trump because he gives this. Okay, well, understand that when you vote for Trump because he's giving you this, you're also voting for all the other things that he's doing, and a lot of it is not for you.
Yeah.
Stop pretending like you're only voting for him, and that's okay. You're voting for that particular point, but in your vote for that particular point, you're supporting all of everything else.
Yeah.
That's why I voted last year. I mean, during the last election, I voted for Biden, and I'll tell you why. It was not because I think, my body, my choice. It was not because I think like they're doing the great things. I picked Biden, and I picked the Democratic Senate because I need them to do something about gun laws and global warming. Because guess what? I care more about my children than I do about just me. My children need an earth to live on, and they need not to be shot up at schools. And the Republicans don't want to even acknowledge either one of those things, so I can't vote for you because that's me voting against my children. I don't care how much money I got in the bank. It don't matter how much money I got in the bank. How much money I got in the bank cannot protect my kids at school and cannot protect my grandchildren from dying in a world that's overheated. Understand, when you vote for them, you are voting for everything that they encompass, not just those single things. So yes, I had to trade off the Democrats wanting my body, my choice, but I also understand that it's more important for me to get the global warming and the weapons, gun laws addressed. That's more important for my generation. Why you keep voting for your wallet? Your wallet don't save you, bro. It don't. The Egyptians tried it. You can't take all that money with you. So why you voting for what helps your pockets right now when you can't take it with you? My bad. I get a little animated. Bruh,
that was good.
I'm telling you, ooh.
No, but
and I'm not saying.
But the points that you mentioned are very true, because a lot of people, they're voting depending on how much money they have in the bank and where they think the candidate will take them.
Yep.
But they're not thinking about our future. They're not thinking about our children. They're just thinking.
They don't care.
But this generation is very selfish.
Yeah.
They're thinking about themselves right now. They're not thinking about the future. Just thinking and living in the moment.
Some of the last generation was selfish too, though.
Yeah. It's just selfishness.
It is.
And that you only live once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the world. That's the way the world is. The world has always been selfish. So, that's enough about Chuck because I don't want to get aggravated. So, what's the next topic?
So our next topic is.
You got it?
Yeah.
What's up?
Shakari Richardson.
Yes. Oh, yes. All right. This is very interesting. Yo, for real, I want to talk about this. I need to. Yo, shout out to Shakari Richardson. For real. And let me hit the applause button. Where is that at? Shakari Richardson has freaking nailed it. Like, seriously nailed it. So,
she's really a good runner and stuff.
She is, but it got rough for a bit. It got rough for a bit, and I just want to, and that's what I wanted to give her the applause because Shakari Richardson is now the fastest woman in the world. I'm gonna hit that again. And you know the story about Shakari Richardson, right? She was doing great things. She was at LSU. I think it was at LSU, and she was running for LSU, and then she was competing in the nationals, and she was prepared to go to the Olympics, and she obviously she came up from a rough background.
Yeah.
She had never known. Well, she knew her biological mother, but she didn't grow up with her. And around the time of the Olympics, the tryouts, whatever, she ended up popping hot for marijuana. And she said it was because of her the issues she was having with her mother, her biological mother having passed, and she obviously the world was upset.
Yeah.
When I say the world, I mean the black world was upset because she had great promise. She was doing great things. She was the black woman, one of the black women of today. Like as far as the look, I'm doing me
to carry on your shoulder. Though.
Yeah, it is a lot of weight. That's true. So with everything that we have is just as black people in America. I showed a picture with her in Jamaica, and those were the fastest women in the world up until now. Yeah, you're Jamaican, so shout out to them. But here's the issue: the thing in Jamaica is everybody's black.
Well, not everybody's black.
Everybody's black, right?
Majority.
Yeah.
But yes, there's
everybody that represents Jamaica in athletics is black. So they're amongst one another. And in America, we only 13% of the population. So we are fighting against the odds. But of course, we're obviously able to pretty much dominate every sport we enter. So Sha'Carri, when it happened, when she popped hot, everybody was like, oh, not everybody. A lot of people were like, oh, you fumbled the bag. But then we saw other issues with the rest of the Olympics, where other people across the world were like, they would have issues where some things were illegal, and they would still let them play.
Yeah. And
now we're like, okay, well, why did you let them play and not Shakari Richardson? Sha'Carri Richardson. But it didn't matter. No matter how much we fight and argue about the system gonna always win until we are able to control the system.
Yeah. So
Sha'Carri was going this back and forth. She was in her mood, and not. She was arguing with people and expressing her opinion, and then she just stopped. And then last week, she got she showed us why she stopped. And I'm gonna play this whole race or most of it because it was pretty awesome.
Two of those Jamaicans, the top two on the podium, Fraser Price, the world champion, and Jackson, are back. Does anybody else from the rest of the world have an answer for what the Jamaican women have done to this event at Worlds?
On the far left of your screen is Shakari Richardson in her first World Final. She has to get a better start than what she got in the semi.
She's got to have a much better start, because at least then she gives herself a chance. This is a World Championship final. You're not going to run down people if you give them too much of a lead.
The two Jamaicans in the middle, Sha'Carri Jackson, and then Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price and Julian Alfred on their outside. Blue top, black bottoms.
Set.
Women's 100 World Final. The Jamaicans get out well. It's Sha'Carri Jackson, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price, Talu. Here comes Shakari Richardson. Shakari's done it. Shakari Richardson has won the world title. She had to come from behind in the semi, but when it counted, she has done it. Shakari Richardson has stunned the sprinting world and is a world champion.
That's a World Championship record, a personal best, but short memory, Lee. After a bad semifinal, she recovered and ran the race necessary to upset the Jamaicans and wrest the world title back from Jamaica. It's back in United States hands for the first time since 2017.
That was the race of Shakari's life, and she delivered. The United States sweep the 100-meter finals. Noah Lyles in the men's, Sha'Carri in the women's.
That was something. From the outside lane, she had to overcome 40 years of history. There's never been a man or a woman to make a final on time and then win the world title in the 100 meters. That's what Shakari Richardson just did.
She's stunned.
Stand up.
That makes me want to cry.
Right? I'm telling you, if you're a Black American and you watched that and you didn't come to tears, I did when I first watched it. Like, to know everything that we gotta fight against. And that's why I say, like, Shakari Richardson, honestly, look, she showed Black Americans what we have to do. We like, listen, everybody is gonna be against you. The world is against us. Like, seriously, everything is rigged against us. We make one mistake and the whole world will tear us down every freaking time. Every time. The world's going to tear us down. Because guess what? That's what they do against us. Because they know if we get in there, it's a wrap. So, here's the lesson, though. Here is the lesson that Shakari Richardson taught us. This is what I'm telling you. Like, it's going to always be somebody that's going to be against you. It's going to always, the system is always going to be rigged against us. So what we have to do is take our own power back. Right? So this is her.
Part of, like, taking your power back is just being there in the fight.
Yeah.
And making sure that you show up and
yeah,
to perform.
Because, and that's why I say this, like, Shakari Richardson showed us what we need to do. Because because when we get attacked, and the enemy's always going to attack us. The enemy is always going to attack us because they know we're great. And if they let us in the ring or on the track, we're going to dominate. Even Jamaica been dominating for years, right?
Yeah. Against all odds.
Right. In America, we are against. I don't know how much I know Jamaica fights hard for everything it has, but Sha'Carri fought hard, and then what I want us to understand right here is what she had to say to the question of how'd you do it.
You won a world title off of a qualifying time. What did it mean to cross the line and look up and see that you had won the world championship?
It meant so much. It meant the people that's supporting me, the people that believed in me, my family, just knowing that hard work pays off. It's been a lot I've been going through, but to overcome all of that and my work speaking for itself, being so silent this year because I wanted my performance to speak all the words that I needed to speak myself, it feels amazing. It feels like
silent.
It feels like everything that paid off, and I'm grateful.
Paid off, it did. If you could, let's just go back to the start. Take us back to the start.
Sit down and shut up. Sit down and shut up. That's our issue. We want stop talking, and she learned that.
Yeah.
She
and
learned. Look,
it's a hard lesson to learn to be silent.
Yeah.
But your silence has power.
Mm-hmm. And guess what happens when you're silent? You're in the gym. You're in the books. You're on the grind.
You have a different kind of focus.
Shakari Richardson got in there and she stopped talking and started working. Start working. Let your efforts, let your greatness speak for you. That's our issues. We want to be great, but we want to be great and let everybody see us up the ladder of greatness. It's not how it works. Yeah. And I remember when I was coming up in the military, so I actually had a senior NCO, senior sergeant, come to me one day. He didn't really come. We got in the mix. He said, "You know what, Specialist Define? I never see you complain." And I looked right back at him and was like, "For what? Why are you complaining? Why? What's the point in me complaining? Nobody cares about my gripes, my complaints. Outside of our family, the ones that are close to us, nobody really cares about your gripes or complaints. Nobody cares. Only thing they care about is what do you do when you show up on the track.
Yeah, and you can have the roughest day. Somebody can just pass in your family.
Yep.
And you can be facing the worstest time, but they're gonna be looking at you like, what can you do to perform? What can you give us?
I remember I was in Korea when my uncle died, and he didn't have many boys, and he had actually, because I had been a truck driver, and then I was a truck driver, and then when the market crashed in 2008, I was the owner operator, so and everything went to crap for me. So a year or two later, I joined the military, and even when he was coming on the road, I was with Fort Liberty now, airborne trooper, and he would come up and down the road, and when he come down and past my base, he would call me up, "Hey nephew, I'm just calling and say hello, check in on you. I'm on the road right beside you." I said, "Oh, what's up?" But before I even joined, and when my truck went down, he had come to me, and he'd asked me if I wanted to drive his truck, and he would go get another truck. And anyway, that's how close we were. Every time I was in town, I'd come and talk to him. He would give me some wisdom, give me some knowledge. But when he died, I was in Korea. I couldn't fly back. But I told the platoon sergeant, I said, "Hey, if you see me down the next couple of days, we had a field exercise. We went out on this big exercise. So if you see me down, just know I'm pushing through it. But my uncle died. You know, we was kind of close. He treated me like his son. So, but guess what? I still got to do the mission.
Yeah.
The mission still has to get done. We got to dig down, grab whatever we got, whatever, motivation we got, and push through. The issue with us is we will say, I got this going on. This is tough. This is tough. This is tough. Soak in it, right? Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, all of that doesn't push you forward. Mm-hmm. And if you let it hold you back, exactly, it holds you back. If you let it hold you back, it will.
Yeah. You literally have to push against the force.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So she said something else, which I of course I recorded. We had to talk about that too. So she said something about the reason why. The reason why she's able to push through, and it was just important for me.
To the Jamaicans and the rest of the world tonight.
Not even just the Jamaicans. I feel like I've earned the respect for myself. That's the biggest thing for me, not even just the world, but for Shakari Richardson. I put that respect on me for me. I've been downplaying myself for so long, and this entire season, I know I belong. I know I deserve to be here, and it just feels amazing to execute that as well.
Finally, right before your race.
So, it's excellent. The biggest part about that was that I had to talk about was we want to show for everybody else. That's why she shut up. Mm-hmm. That's why she sat down and shut up and did her part. Did her due diligence, because you can't do it for you. I mean, you can't do it for others. You can't do it for the gram. You can't be out here trying to do it for somebody to see you doing it, because honestly, seeing or showing what you're doing, that's not. Don't nobody think that's fun. Nobody want to hear or see that. Yeah, maybe for track, that we'll watch a clip on somebody training, but in the rest of the world, nobody wants to see that. Mm-hmm. Nobody cares how hard you're putting in. They only care what the results look like.
Yeah. So
you have to do it for you. That's the second thing Sha'Carri just taught us. But one thing was Sha'Carri. The first thing was sit down and shut up. Mm-hmm. Second part was do it for you. Yeah. And if you don't have it for you, then what are you doing? If you're not doing it for you, who are you doing it for? I'd ask that too, for real. Like, what are we doing it for? What are you doing? Whatever you're trying to be successful at, what are you doing it for? Why are you doing it?
The thing about today, in this lifetime, most people, they say they're doing it for themselves, but they're mostly doing it for other people to see them, mm-hmm. and see them in their greatness, and see them doing like different things. Like, oh, look at me. Everybody wants the spotlight on them, but it takes for you to go outside the spotlight and work on yourself and find that inner drive to keep pushing you through. Because if you keep trying to put yourself on like a show, it's going to turn into a show.
Yeah.
And it might be a comedic show where people are laughing at you and stuff, because if that drive isn't in you to do it yourself and prove to yourself that you can do it, you're never going to reach your goals.
Yeah.
You're going to always try to...
You want to measure yourself against what other people see.
Yeah, basically.
You're measuring yourself against what other people see.
Adelaide 9, I was in my own world.
Oh.
And I think for myself, being my biggest... Oh, here you go. Being my biggest... just focusing in on myself is the biggest thing that I know I need to pay attention to. Not just focusing in on me.
Exactly
and knowing
what we were
that
saying.
it is. I know
what you was just saying. Focusing in on you, like, for real. What... And I do it too. I'm not even gonna lie. I do it when I sit down and I think about
what I need to do
where I am
in order to perform,
and
not have and just blocking it.
What I'm doing. I actually, you know what? It's funny story. So when I had lost the trucking business, and I joined the military, and then I knew that if I had been in the military at 18, that I might have been further, right? So what I was doing was I was always I wasn't comparing myself to other people, but I was comparing myself to the person I would have been had I done things differently, right? But
that's detrimental.
yeah, but I was still chasing that. I was chasing myself, not chasing other people.
Yeah.
And then when I became a Chief Warrant Officer, I was standing next to. We were in training in Chief Warrant Officer candidates course, and I was standing as a guidon bearer holding up the little flag, and I'm standing to my buddy Stu, and I was talking to him, another black guy, and I was like, when we were talking, and I was recognizing, trying to figure out who he was and who I was, or where we were in the mix. And I told him, he told me how long he had been in, and it was about the same amount of time that I had been in, and then where he was in his progression in his career, and I was like, "You're the dude that I've been chasing," but I wasn't chasing him. I was chasing the person that I knew that I could be.
Yeah.
And then when we met each other at the candidate school, Warrant Officer candidate school, it was at a level where we both should have been in our progression of career. But I had caught up to him even though he was in earlier than me.
Yeah.
So what we need to do, like Sha'Carri said, run your race. Don't worry about she's in lane 9. Nobody ever wins in lane 9.
Yeah. But you saw how she came up.
Yeah, she was behind.
She
was in lane 9. But she ran her race in lane 9 to where she knew she could be at. She ran her race where she knew she could meet your greatest potential of yourself, and don't worry about lanes 8 through 1.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, when you cross that white line, you'll be right where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
If you do the work. So Shakari Richardson could have cried and complained and never even made it to where she got to now.
Yeah.
Everything was against her.
She got through.
So one more round of applause for Shakari Richardson. She didn't just set the bar for track. She set the bar for Black Americans, in my opinion. She set the bar for Black Americans. She ran her race. We'll do that. I think we'll be all right.
Yeah.
Stop worrying about what everybody else doing. Run your race. All right. So, what we got for the next topic?
Racist quitting.
Oh, yes. Let's talk about that part. So, I was reading an Essence article, and I saw that we are actually, as Black people, and this actually goes with what we were talking about with Shakari Richardson, because of the fact that I'll let this out. So it says that according to Essence magazine, more workers are quitting due to subtle racism. Studies suggest that racially motivated microaggressions are increasing workplace attrition. Attrition means people coming in and then leaving. The turnover rate. Yeah, the turnover rate. So I thought that was interesting because obviously, what do you think about it? I'll ask you first.
About racist quitting?
Yeah, but you know, more of us quitting because of racism or subtle racism.
Yeah. So if you're in a place and you're working, say your manager comes to you and they're like, and you know they have like that racism in them, and they're like, oh, I don't like your work, or you need to work harder, or they say something like, oh, I expect this from a black person, or something of that tone. That nowadays people are saying, "Oh, you're not gonna talk to me like that. I'll find somewhere else to go."
Exactly, right?
There's plenty of opportunity. I don't have to be here.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna check juices.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens with that is it makes us look bad because we're not pushing through the workforce like how we should be.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it seems like we just quit.
Yeah. So, during in the article, it said on August 2023, DEI, which is uh, diversity. What is it? DEI diversity.
Like diversity, equity, and intelligence.
No, improvement. I think. I said so. It's diversity, equity, and improvement report from research firm Savanta highlights that gaps in DEI and high level of discrimination were linked as reported in survey results. So the employees that shared the most discomfort identified as LGBTQ, Black people, Indigenous people, and other workers of color, specifically transgender and genderqueer and non-binary workers, were among the largest groups that shared the experience in workplace discrimination. And my issue.
I don't like that.
What do you
And
mean?
you know why?
Why?
Because they're always grouping black people with LGBTQ plus.
What are minorities?
etc.
They're grouping us as minorities.
Yeah, but that's two separate. That's two separate things. Like LGBTQ plus, that is sexual orientation. Black is a color essentially,
Yeah.
or ethnicity.
Mm-hmm.
Why do they always like group them together? I understand that it's minorities.
Yeah.
However, how you identify sexually, that shouldn't equate to your ethnicity as well.
So that what they do is they're grouping all the minorities because it's easier for. Bottom line is just easier for them to group it that way. But what they're saying in this article is just the fact that minorities of all areas are experiencing these microaggressions.
Yeah.
It also says that, as previously reported by Essence, just 3 years after the collective corporate promise to prioritize Black sensitivity, a massive pullback has happened, and a slew of inclusion practitioners have been let go. It even seems that collective diversity fatigue has befallen on a large number of companies in which the zest of diversity, equity, and inclusion work has significantly decreased. So the reason for this, and I don't really need to read any more of that. I'll tell you exactly what the reason is. So they got tired. Look, when you say we're going to focus on making things better for those that are, have been continuously been discriminated against, and you don't really believe it, like you're just following the trend, eventually you just stop following. It's like, okay, if a dude is with his wife and she say, tired of you leaving your drawers on the floor outside of the shower, pick your drawers up, put them in the basket. That's not me. I put my stuff in the basket. But what I'm saying is, you say that, okay, so the dude is like, okay, my wife is upset, so I'm gonna start picking my drawers up and putting them in my basket. Right? So I do it for a week, and I'm doing good, right? So now she's happy, and she's like, oh, he actually cared. But then next week, I do it 5 times out of the 7 days. And then the week after that, I do it 3 times out of 7 days. You know why? Because I never really cared about actually keeping my draws off the flow. That's what's happening right now with this diversity, equity, and inclusion. They don't really care.
Yeah, because they were trying to take out, you know how they put certain ethnicities and jobs to make up
Meet
for
the quota.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they were working on taking that out. So now they have this issue going on where people are just getting tired of it and just quitting. So now they're trying to put the spotlight and focus on, okay, we have to do something about making minorities feel included.
Yeah.
But it'll never be enough.
And
because it's the people in upper management that are having like bad attitudes and bad mannerisms towards the people or towards minorities.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's essentially causing the issues and the problems within the workplace.
Yeah. So yeah, because it'll never be enough. Mm-hmm. Here's the issue I think that we need to address, and like I said when it deals with Shakari Richardson, it's we have to stop pretending like they're gonna do what's best for us
and push forward.
And push forward, exactly. Look, and I wrote it in my book when I'm talking about. Be on the lookout. Book should be published in next year, around Mayish. So I write it in my book when I was talking about when I was in the military and I come up to a staff sergeant who is just what seems to me obviously racist, right? And the way he communicates, the things that he does. But I am not going to let you, as a racist, dictate how I negotiate my success. So just because you say this stuff, I don't have to. I can choose to just pretend like, I don't even pretend. I choose to acknowledge in myself that you're racist, and I adjust how I communicate with you. So I'm not saying nothing to you other than yes, no, Roger, got you, out. I'm out. So I know how to deal with you, but I'm not gonna engage with you on your racist attitude when I know that you don't care and I know that they don't care enough to change anything. So you know what I'm gonna do? Let me tell you why I succeeded so far so fast. And I told my soldiers this. I outworked everybody and I got promoted so that less people can tell me what to do. That's how you win. You quitting does not help you win. You succeeding to a level where less people are able to tell you what to do, that's how you win. Because now Jimmy John that had these microaggressions that told me this and this, and he was my manager. Now I'm 3 levels above him. So I tell him what to do. And I don't care how racist he is because he can't tell me what to do.
When a lot of people when they quit, they don't see it as quitting. They see it as moving on to a better opportunity.
Yeah.
So you can kind of do that if it puts you in a better place or a higher place, because you still have to remember like your mental health and your wellness and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So even though it's quitting, yes, you should push through it. But if you reach a point to where you have to just move on from that, just move on from that situation and find something that puts you in a better spot to succeed.
True. But you know what I'm gonna do? Before I move on, especially if I'm new to a position, before I move on, I'm gonna make sure I do something to a level that allows me to put it on my resume.
Yeah.
So that when they call you, when they call him or somebody as a reference, they can't do anything but say that I was awesome, great, did this, I did that, I did this, I did that. So then, yes, I'm moving on to something better, but I'm moving on because I stuck through with this part in order to make sure that this was an added value to my future success. I'm not just moving on because Jimmy John or Joe Blow feels like I'm beneath him. Bruh, as long as you don't say nothing completely out of pocket, if you don't say nothing completely out of pocket or actually come up against me, I don't care what you do. My check in the mail on the 1st and the 15th. Because guess what? I know for a fact that my level of work ethic is going to bring me to the point where I eventually outrank or am in a higher position of power than you. So I'm not worried about what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Because that mindset comes along with something. That a mindset of racism or a mindset of over or thinking you're above me. That mindset also coincides with your inability to perform at the level that I'm capable of performing. So guess what? Eventually, you can go ahead and fall to the wayside. Honestly, you know what? I'm not. Yeah, I was gonna say something else, but I'm not gonna say it.
Hold it.
So we're gonna go ahead and take a break right now. Look, like, comment, share, subscribe. What do you think about these 3 topics? What do you think about Trump? What do you think about Shakari Richardson? Do you think that she has set up a blueprint for us to follow? What do you think about somebody shooting in the comments about this whole quitting because of microaggression racism? What do you think? Do you agree with Trish, or do you agree with me, or do you agree with both of us? Because both of us kind of agree. We just look at things
Finally, right?
Right.
But
Yep.
thank you for watching. I'm your girl Trish,
And I'm your boy, Mr. Define.
and we are
Black Press.
Please like, comment, share, and subscribe.